Hey, welcome back to Healing Overflow with Dr. Toy. Listen, y'all, I know I sound excited about all my Healing Overflow guests, but today, this young Black warrior will inspire you to move out of the shadow of your past and into the healing light. I'm telling you, her story is powerful, but her triumph is even more powerful. Today, our guest is Latrice Rose, aka Millennial Motivator, aka Generational Curse Breaker. She is the executive director of Melon Mommies PGH, nonprofit organization that centers historically marginalized Black mothers and children, and they do so much more. And Latrice does so much more. She's here to talk about how she grew through adversity to triumph over generational curses. Listen, I'm so excited to have her here. So please put your virtual, or you know what, put your real hands together for Latrice.
Hey.
Hear the crowd out there screaming.
That was such a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Well, you're such a beautiful individual, and I thank you for coming on my show and just being yourself and just talking to the viewers. I mean, you have such an inspirational story. You can tell about 4, 5, 6 of them here. We only got a half hour, so I know a lot about you and your background, and just had the pleasure of just watching you grow and heal, and but also spreading your healing through the community. I just want the viewers to know who is Latrice. Just tell us about yourself and your story.
Well, like you stated, I'm Latrice. I'm the founder of Melon Mommies PGH. I'm also a business consultant, credit consultant. I grew up in Larmer. I was raised by my great grandmother. Due to having an absent father, a mother incarcerated and in addiction, grandmother incarcerated in addiction. So that's why I was raised by my great grandmother. I'm a graduate of Wilkinsburg High School, a proud graduate of Wilkinsburg High School. I love my Tigers. I love everyone who I went to high school with. A lot of people counted us out, but we made it. That's a little bit about me. I'm also a mother. That's one of my big inspirations behind Melon Mommies, and everything I do in breaking generational curses is so that she does not have to break those same curses. So I'm a very proud mother. I'm always advocating and speaking about my motherhood journey. So that's the basis of me. It makes up who I am.
Man, and it's so many different areas and corners that we can go through. I mean, one might say that you have a complicated history, but you turned it out. You're like, nah, it's gonna be the foundation of my stepping stones, So just talk a little bit about like what you came through, what you pushed through.
So that's true. A lot of people may say that I had a complicated background, which it started complicated. The reason why I had moved with my great grandmother is because at one time my father was one of the biggest, drug dealers in Pennsylvania, and we had a home invasion or something, I believe, and that's how I, went with my great grandmother. But during that time, I was with her from about 3 until she passed away when I was 10. Was the most blissful moments of my life that I can remember. And the way that she poured into me and loved me when I had a child, I always said that I would raise my child with that same love and that same pouring into. So that is a very significant moment in my life that shaped who I am and how I give, and how I love. Right now, when it comes to the challenges, having a mother who, struggled with addiction, uncles, aunts, grandmother, like addiction was all around me. I knew how to cook crack at the age of 8 from watching it.
Whoa.
I did have, I suffered, abuse and different things. And all of those experiences really make me, who I am. I don't look at it so much like a complicated background, right? And one of the things that really helped me to change and to not become a victim of my circumstances was when I learned that there are other successful people who have had those same experiences, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So when I was, young, I was exposed to an organization which was Urban Youth Action. And I have to compliment that organization because if it wasn't for that organization, the things that they exposed us to, I wouldn't be who I am today, right?
Mm.
Because it exposed me to positive influence who had my same background. And that made a world of difference for me. It was like, wow, these people had these challenges and they were able to rise above. So that's pretty much how I began to model my life. I didn't feel like a victim, I didn't feel like, oh, well, woe is me, my mom, my dad isn't around, and all of these things. I felt empowered to use my background to push me towards success.
Wow. Wow. Shout out to Urban Youth Action. Shout out
Yes,
to my late father-in-law, Bernard H. Jones. That's where I met you.
yes,
Just a young teeny bopper and
yes.
so many years ago, but there was something so distinct and something so bright about you that I couldn't put my hand on or my finger on then, but it was a light that was shining through,
Mm,
this heaviness and this darkness, and it just kept, you had such perseverance,
mm,
you kept
mhm.
pushing through, and I said, what is this girl, like, who is this, what, yeah, and it
Yeah.
just, it attracted me like a moth to light, like, what is this, and it was worth, you were just so worth pouring into, and
Mm.
you were there, you were ready, and I'm like, I love this girl, I don't know what it is about her, and what, but it was that strength, that you showed even then. I thought,
Yeah.
how can she have that strength? Like, where is that coming from? So that leads me to my next question. Like, how did you break the generational curse? Like, the odds were against you. You weren't supposed to come out of there and be the person that you are today. Like, how did you do that?
So that's true. There were odds against me. Like I said, a lot of people counted me out. Even in school, it's so funny. I remember there was a security guard when I went to Wilkinsburg High School. A security guard. She was always escort me to the office because of my experiences, growing up. After my great grandmother had passed away, I became really rebellious. I
Sure.
felt like no one cares. My mother is just getting out of being incarcerated. She's trying to insert herself back into my life. We're conflicting. My little sister, who, was my baby, was in the system. I'm just feeling, alone and rebellious. So the security guard was always escorting me to the office, right? I was, consistently getting suspended. At one time, I had actually got kicked out of Wilkinsburg, but they brought me back.
Mm.
Um, and I was supposed to like fail and repeat a grade, but by the grace of God, I, didn't have to do any of that. Um, but like I had mentioned, it was because when I made a 180, right? It was because I had people in my ear saying, you don't have to be like a victim of your circumstance. Like, these are the things that you have went through, but you don't have to end up like this. You don't have to end up like your mother, your father, your grandmother. You can be better. So the security guard, after I had, did my 180 and like had like a 3 point, I went from a very low GPA in Wilkinsburg, like I mean 0.000, because I just didn't care. Like, and I still have the report card and I'm gonna put it in the frame, but I just did not care, right?
Wow.
Um, and then I had got a 3.8 GPA and 4.0, and I just was making some changes, and she was like, Latrice, I never thought that I would not be walking you to this office. Like, she had escorted me down to get I had gotten an award or something, and she was like, I didn't think I'd ever be escorting you down here for this. Because she was always escorting me to the office for something, for something that I
Something.
had did that was, bad or rebellious. Um so that's pretty much where it started. And people often mention, like, why at almost 32 years old do you still talk about your high school experience? And I'm like, because that is really where I entered into young adulthood and what really, shaped me, and made me more of who I am. Like those experiences that I had, just wanting more, and being the first in my family to actually graduate high school, and then to go on to graduate college,
Yes.
and then start a business. I'm the first in my immediate family to do that.
Wow.
So I always have to talk about, my high school experience and how that helped to shape me.
Yeah, wow, that's so powerful because folks like me as a therapist, and I used to work in the schools, and just a lot of our viewers too just work with young people, and we're like, is what I'm saying getting through? And you're saying, yeah, don't stop saying
Yeah.
it. It's
Don't.
getting through. Getting through.
Don't stop.
Yes, you had some hope in you, and you had
Mhm.
those seeds planted, and you said, you know what? I'm going to break these generational curses. I'm going to water these seeds, and they're going to bloom, and they're going to blossom to what you see now. But
Right.
don't get it twisted. You
Right.
yeah, you came through some stuff, but you made a decision, and that's why you're the millennial motivator right there. When,
Right.
when did you say, you know what? I'm at a point where I know that I can let this healing spill over onto other people. I'm going to use one thing I used to say when I work with young people is that I would say you are powerful, and
Mhm.
all that walking down the hall because you did something wrong. It's because you are reacting to what has been done to you, and so
Right.
you're using your powers, but let's now change that and use it for good. And so you
Right.
did that, right? You
Right.
use your powers for good. But how did you know it was time to start helping others to heal?
So there's two things, right? So overcoming adversity is one journey, but making a conscious decision to actually enter into a healing journey is something totally different.
Mm,
And it takes a lot of self work that many people aren't willing to begin,
mhm.
because you have to look at yourself in the mirror. You have to, oops, sorry. That's actually my therapist. You
I
have to,
love it. I
you
love
know,
it. That's right. That's right. Keep it healthy. Keep your mind healthy. There you
right,
go.
right, yes. You have to, when you start your healing journey, you have to make that conscious decision to want to heal from the things that you have been through. So my actual healing journey began in college. I had a therapist in college. I was struggling with some things because I was having like a lack of support through my college experience, coming from my mother. And we did a whole exercise where she took me back to my childhood, the little girl me. This was something I never experienced before. I didn't know how important it was to actually revisit your child self and to apologize to your child self and to love on your child self. So that's where my healing journey initially began,
Yes.
where I made the conscious decision to say, you know what, this little girl is really hurt. This little girl is in pain and I am suffering from it, right? There's no way I can continue as a young adult and make it through my college experience with this little girl who feels abandoned, this little girl who still has that pain. So that's where my healing journey initially began. Just exploring my child self, apologizing to her, healing those abandonment issues that I had. Um, and I started there. Healing is a continuous process, right?
Hmm.
After you make that conscious decision, it's a continuous process to keep going, because you're going to have different experiences in life where you're going to need to heal from. But my goal now, as a mother, a business owner, a nonprofit, leader, is I don't want to keep going through experiences that I consistently have to heal from, you
Hmm.
know? So I don't want to keep putting myself in those situations. So therapy, I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I'm
Hmm.
also a mental health first aid instructor. I'm certified in maternal mental health. So I'm a huge advocate for therapy and the better the betterment of mental health and addressing mental health, challenges and issues. So I will
Shout out
say,
to therapist. Shout out to your
yes,
therapist
yeah,
that
shout
took
out
you
to my
through that
therapist.
journey. Yes, yes. Go ahead.
I've been 3 years strong in therapy. and I love it. A lot of people are scared of therapy, but I will say this, there's a lot of times where my therapist will, where I'm unpacking with her something that I've already figured out. But by the time I get to her and we talk about it, she's just confirming those things and it
Nice.
feels so good. So therapy does not have to be, a strenuous process. It doesn't have to be a struggle. You can sit on a FaceTime with your therapist and just be quiet. But if that's what you need to do, then begin that process. If you don't want to talk, but you just need somebody to stare at, but you just need somebody to be there, then that is okay. But
That's
make
right.
sure that you start the process.
Great.
Uh,
Great
so
advice.
yeah.
Great advice. Share that space. And that's what we're taught as therapists is share the space with them.
Hmm.
You don't always have to feel the space, but share
Right,
the space, right?
right.
Yeah. Nice. Talk about, I mean, you have so many outlets and so many ways that you help others to heal. I mean, you help heal finances, you help heal, single mommies, you help folks. I just love a lot of the things that you do because you help people think of things in a different way than that pattern that
Mm,
we're used to thinking about for generations. Like, for example, you're like, black mommies swim with their babies. How about
right,
that? And we're like, wait,
right.
wait, no, oh, no, we don't. And you're like, yes, we do. And that's just another way for mommies to bond with their babies. So
Mhm.
talk about Melanin Mommies. I love this organization, y'all. Check out the website. They do so much. They do so much for people. And I am going to plug that they need your financial support so that
Mhm.
Latrice can continue to help mommies. They do so much. You have to check out the website just to see how much they do. But go ahead, brag on the organization. Talk about it.
So Melon and Mommies was created in 2014 when I was newly pregnant. And a lot of the women who I had went to high school with in college, we were all, becoming new mothers around the same time. So it started as an online support group where we would, pour into each other, talk about our new experiences. We would have play dates once we had our children. And then in 2018, I decided, that it was brought to me, right? I was struggling with trying to figure out my purpose in life and my mission.
Hmm.
And I had prayed about it and I heard God say, your story is your success. Because I was trying to figure out, well, what will make me successful? What is my purpose? And God just was so profound and said, your story is your success. Okay. So I said, okay. Along that time as well, I was struggling to find a mentor. Most of my mentors in my life have been, men. But I was like, this is different. I'm a mother. I need a mother mentor, a woman who can help me navigate, life as a new mom and, I'm just finding my purpose. So that really pushed me to start Melanin Mommies as a nonprofit organization. And we started with a mentorship program. Um, our mentorship program was for teen moms, and it started off really well. We were able to pair organizations that catered to teen moms, and we provided them with the mentors to their moms. um since then we have done mommy and me swim classes, which turned into the black uh excuse me, I'm sorry, which turned into the Black Babies Do Swim initiative. And that was brought to me because of, just the stigma of Black, people not swimming, not knowing how to swim, Black babies not learning how to swim, and the drowning rates amongst, Black youth. So
Yes.
we started with that. It's been a few years since we have actively had the Mommy and Me swim classes, but those were a major hit, a major
Mhm.
success. We partnered with the Thelma Lovett YMCA, and through our organization, we were able to provide, discounted rates for swim classes and one-on-one classes for, the children.
Yeah. When
Um,
COVID gets out your way, you can get you back to normal.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so far, those were two of our, initiatives in like our infant phase of Melanin Mommy. Since then, we've created through COVID relief funds, our grandparent and guardians fund, which is dedicated to grandparents and guardians who are taking care of children due to the biological parents' incarceration, drug addiction, absence, or death. Then we have our mommy relief fund where we help with utilities and bill assistance. for moms who have been black mothers, because we are black mother specific, who have been affected by COVID. And most recently, our Black Mothers Mental Health Initiative is the one of the main focuses through our organization, and that's providing group therapy to mothers who have been affected by gun violence. And these are mothers and children who have lost a significant other, a father, a sibling, a mother, a sister,
Wow.
whoever, to gun violence, providing them with group therapy. And
Yeah.
it's through a 12-week cohort where we have, a licensed social worker every, well, we started on Saturdays, but now we're changing to like evenings, which whatever we think would be better to fit people's schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But every weekly, it's group therapy. And our last cohort launched in September. It was, successful. We had a whole family in there, the mother, the sister, the grandmother,
Ah,
who have all been affected by this tragic loss.
generations.
Right.
Yes.
Who
Yes.
have all been affected by this tragic loss due to gun violence. And just the healing that was able to take place for these women to say, they started with the PTSD and anxiety and depression and feeling guilty and just hopeless, but being able to feel some type of relief through this cohort with those symptoms, it has been really, really profound.
Wow.
And it's something that I'm going to keep pushing, especially just with the losses now and the rise of, gun violence against Black mothers,
Yes.
um, Black women, who this is much needed. A lot of other organizations focus on gun violence prevention, and we are focusing on the actual trauma and grief associated and helping, mothers and children heal through that loss. So those are our current initiatives.
Ooh, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. I mean, you dropped so many gold nuggets here of how, this whole circle, this cycle of violence, this generational trauma,
Mhm.
had run through. I mean, this family is just an example of what we see. Me as a trauma expert, I see this all the time, the generational curses, and we call it, in the therapy realm, you're looking at, what is the etiology of this and what's the historical trauma that's passed down and all this stuff. But for you to have a whole family, like
Right.
this is prime. This is beautiful. This is a pond. This is like everyone go up to the healing lake and be free as a family. That is power. That is power in that room. And you took it and said, I'm going to do it. I don't have the finances. I'm going to do it anyway and let it come after that.
Right.
But what you've done for people and what you will continue to do is it's historical. It's overflowing onto generations, but it's stopping the cycle, and that's profound. It's so important. It's so important that things
Yeah.
like your initiatives don't drive themselves. They need money, and I know that you're not going to sit up here and ask for it, so I will. And listen, y'all, if you can dig into your account, pull out some change, pull out the quiet money, and give to an organization of purpose, and of plan, and that really helps people when they come in. And this Latrice has such a heart to reach out and give to others, and she will give and give until she's pretty much a cup empty. We're not going to have that. We're not, right? We're going to continue to fill
No.
that cup. You can go on her page, Melanin Mommies, pgh.org. It's on the screen, and give to something
Yes.
that is really out there doing something for people. You're like, what's it doing? She told you what they're doing.
Right.
Go onto go onto the website and look at all the different services. She didn't even mention. We don't have time for her to mention all of the different services that she provides for the community. I've had an opportunity just to see how this organization is ran and see how it grows and see how much it really does help people. It's a beautiful thing. She did this this project and this gathering in the summertime where she brought mommies just to have an opportunity to sit in a park and have food and music and self-care, just time.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah,
Our
but
Black Mothers Mental Health Picnic.
go
Yes,
ahead. You
I
do it
forgot that.
better than me.
I forgot to mention that. So our first annual Black Mothers Mental Health Picnic, that launched off our Black Mothers Mental Health cohort, and that happened in July. We are planning for our second annual Black Mothers Mental Health picnic to do it much bigger, much better. This July 23rd. Hopefully, I can see a lot more, moms out there. We want more vendors. And it's just going to be a picnic of healing, focusing on the Black mom. Yes, children are allowed. You can bring your children. We will have yoga. We'll have vendors. um I can't even think of all the things that we're going to have, because I'm trying to make it so much bigger than last year we had painting. We'll do the painting again. COVID, I'm trying to keep it COVID friendly, but I want to do some massage in there and just different things to focus on self-care. Our vendors are self-care friendly. um yeah, so those are the things. When it comes to the funding, I do have to say this. Thank you so much to Stoughton Farms. They supported our Black Mothers Mental Health cohort last year, and we received a generous grant from them. The Pittsburgh Foundation is supporting us this year for our Black Mothers Mental Health cohort to keep this work going. But as I continue in this work and in this nonprofit space, I'm learning that there's never enough money, right? There is never enough money. And Black-led organizations should not have to rub pennies together to push our missions,
Mm,
um, and to, also provide for ourselves, because this work is exhausting. It can
yes.
be very, very, very exhausting, very strenuous. A lot of ideas that I get and come directly from God. Like I'd wake up in the middle of the night, I have an idea, I have to jot it down. And I'm like, all right, Lord, another one. Another one. You want me to help another family this way? Okay. But that work can be exhausting, and I absolutely need your support, your prayers, your love, but definitely your financial support. If you go on our website, you'll see a link that says donate today. At that link, you can actually set up for like monthly donations. It can be $10, $15, but we really want people to support us with reoccurring donations.
Yes.
So if you have $20 to spare each month and you can sign up, that will help us, tremendously. That goes directly to our fiscal sponsor. Our fiscal sponsor, we request it, give it to us, we disperse it however we need to. So also, I want to give a shout out to New Sun Rising, our fiscal sponsor. If it wasn't for them, we would not have been able to carry out this work for the past 3 years. So thank you so much.
No, you know what? Thank you, Latrice. Thank you so much for taking this on and for just being obedient to the voice of God and moving and just
Yes.
been so many people. Thank you for all that you do. I'm just so glad that we had an opportunity to talk to you. We could go on. We go on for another
Right.
hour and a half. Like, there's just so
Yeah.
much greatness here. But thank you for all you do and keep going. It is a tiring journey helping others to heal, but you're doing it. Your healing
Thank
has
you.
overflowed to others. Thank you so much. Listen, viewers, go on to the Healing Overflow page, like it, share it so that others can heal from what they heard today and all the other guests to come and past guests. Email me at drtoyjones@gmail.com if you have any questions or any follow-up, any ideas, anything. I want to hear from you. Follow me on Twitter at Prof Toya Jones, and like our page, WXCN Power Radio. I have to say it like that because it sounds powerful. Thank you for joining me today. And again, I will see you next week on Healing Overflow. Keep healing, y'all, because your healing overflows onto others. See you.